Jocko.
With Google Workspace, you can create a Gmail account with your
Carrying Bulma, Broly, and the others on board. It's already been some time since they left, as we see Bulma asking Jocko about how much longer it should be. 2 more days, he says. Bulma takes this as a joke, as they can't still have this much longer to travel, but after he confirms he's serious, the entire ship erupts with impatience, as it doesn't even seem like they have supplies for a multi-day trip. If you want, I took 6 legs off of a weird spider, Broly chimes in. I can give you some. I ate well before leaving. There's juice too if you're thirsty, he says, as everyone on the ship shivers in disgust, but decides to just let him be after he finishes the spider leg he was eating. It's gonna be a long journey, Bulma says, as the ship continues throughout space. Shall we act, one of the guards says behind King Sadala, as the king extends his arm. If someone has to act, it will not be you, the king says. Go on, young man. You interest me, he says to Vegeta. You heard the same thing we all heard, Vegeta says, still kneeling. So whether you like it or not, a war will take place. And you should know that this is not just a civil war between Saiyans. So here's my question, he persists. What will you do when the enemy enters your land? Welcome them with a white flag? As pacifist as you want to be, if you are really one of those kings you claim, your instinct will never allow you to do so. I can't guarantee that nobody will die, Vegeta says, getting back to his feet now. But I swear that I will make each and every one of you, my people, worthy of the name. I might not work miracles, but I'll make sure that all of us can look after our own. There's a lot of hidden potential among you. I'm sure of that, he says, looking over his shoulder at the 3 younger Saiyans, Caulifla specifically. All of a sudden, the air in the room becomes thin as a massive ki sends chills down everyone's spine. King Sadala briefly displays a glimpse of his own power as his aura illuminates the entire chamber and eventually the palace, as Vegeta stands his ground but is still slightly impressed by the king. Gather the whole of Sadala's special forces, he says as he exits the hall. All announce them. You won't regret it, Vegeta tells him, as the king simply replies that he does not live with regret. 2 days later, as we see the Capsule Corp ship flying through space, it looks like they finally arrived at their destination. And that's it, Jocko says as they land and exit the ship. Not bad here, he goes on. Sure is a change from your rotten planets. Remind me to never try Broly's food again, Bulma says, looking sick, along with Chile and Limo as well as they exit the ship next. And now, find Vegeta, Jocko says to a little android in his hand. The gadget sprouts a camera and then flies off, patrolling the planet for any signs of Vegeta. Well, in the meantime, maybe you'd all like something to eat, Jocko says, relishing in his own greatness for some reason. However, the others aren't really too sure about this alien food too much anymore. As they begin to walk into town, Jocko spots a kebab stand as the butcher beheads some strange looking fish. Hello friend, Jocko says, approaching the stand. We're 5. Can we eat? What can I get you, the chef asks. As they all take a look at the menu, each choosing different things, it seems like Broly needs a little help as he doesn't quite understand what he's looking at here. All of a sudden, the droid sent across the planet to locate Vegeta gains a visual on him, alerting Jocko that he's been found. Vegeta located, the AI says, with Jocko replying, perfect, send me his location. But it's at this moment that Vegeta absolutely blasts the droid to smithereens, cutting off contact with Jocko mid-transmission. After noticing they've completely lost contact, Jocko goes into a tirade about having to pay for that device, of course. I've already bought everyone a round of drinks while Bulma's loaded, Jocko says. I'm really gonna end up broke with these guys. Go and get it yourself, Bulma barks at him. Otherwise you're not that broke. I really have to.
So this company recently announced that anyone can make a game without writing a line of code and earn extra income. Well, that's the Sandbox's GameMaker. Simply download GameMaker, create your own imaginary world, publish your game, and see how much players like your game. If they're spending time playing and coming back for more, you're going to earn sand reward based on your game's engagement. Basically, you're getting paid for building the metaverse, and the better the experience, the more you can earn. No coding, no problem. Just create, publish, and watch the engagement and rewards roll in.
You want to learn new data skills because your job, but you don't have time to learn new data skills because your job. With DataCamp, you can learn any new data skills fast, from beginner stuff like ChatGPT to AI, SQL, and Power BI, all in a fun environment that feels like a game. Like, for real though. The courses were created by experts who use real-world coding problems, so you can get right to the good stuff. Learn new data skills fast with DataCamp.
To take care of everything, Jocko says as he flies off, following Bulma's orders. It's getting boring. What a chore. A few hours prior at Gohan's house, Piccolo has shown up to their door, greeting the family and wishing Gohan the best of luck on his training. Train hard, Gohan, Piccolo says, as Gohan tells him to count on him. By the way, Videl, Piccolo says, why don't I take Pan to meditate or even train with me? Come on, Piccolo, I hope you're joking, Videl replies. I trained Gohan when he was only 4 years old, Piccolo says to her, reminiscing on the time he and Gohan spent sparring and bonding while Goku was dead. Well, those days are over, Videl says to him angrily. Thanks, but bye. She slams the door in his face, a bit aggressive, but a mother's child is just that, a mother's child. Maybe next time, Piccolo says, smiling as he walks away, being used to this type of reaction, already having known Chi-Chi for so long. Good. Gohan, get ready, Videl says. We're about to go join Vegeta and Bulma. What's wrong with Mom, Pan asks, and where'd Piccolo go? Come on, time for your nap, Pan, Videl calls. Well, you'll see, Gohan says. I'm sure you'll be just like her when you grow up. In bed now, we can see Pan, who is supposed to be sleeping, up reading a book actually. Someone walks up to her door, so she quickly shuts her lamp off and pretends to be asleep. Pan? Gohan says as he walks in checking on his daughter. He notices the book on the floor and smiles, sitting on the bed beside her. You were still up reading, weren't you? He says as Pan starts fake snoring. You know, Gohan tells her, there's no point in pretending to be asleep with me, and you snore so badly. She sits up, apologizing for trying to trick him, as he tells her, listen honey, what I'm about to tell you is really important and will be useful for the rest of your life. People will always try to impose their vision on you, but what really matters is what you want inside. So never let anyone tell you what to do. You're pure of heart, and I'm sure you'll never hurt anyone, he says. Why are you saying these weird words, Dad? Pan says, confused. Oh, it is true you are only 3 years old, Gohan says, with Pan correcting him saying 3.5 soon actually. Anyways, Gohan says, chuckling, sleep well. He gives Pan a kiss and walks out of her room, shutting the door behind him, and as soon as he's gone, Pan gets right back to her reading. Over near the city back in Universe 6, Jocko has finally caught up to Vegeta's crew, landing in front of them. Hi there, Vegeta, Jocko says angrily. You don't feel like you've destroyed a very expensive gadget by any chance? I don't give a damn about your robot, Vegeta tells him. What do you want from me? What I want, Jocko says, getting increasingly annoyed. I had to travel for 2 days just for your wife and those 3 scoundrels. Yes, Vegeta says, his entire demeanor changing after realizing Bulma is here and is looking for him now, so they head back to meet up with the other group. Don't even know why we're here, Caulifla says, complaining as they approach Bulma and the others finally. There you are, Bulma says, perking up after finally finding Vegeta. Hi Kabe, she says, shaking his hand. It's been a while. Though I don't think I know the both of you. Vegeta never mentioned you before, she says, taking note of Kale and Caulifla now. Not cool, Caulifla says, getting increasingly annoyed herself now at the situation. I didn't really want to bother my wife talking about such gross people as you, Vegeta replies, somehow making an awkward situation even more awkward by causing Caulifla to just get so irritated that she finally leaves. Bulma gives Vegeta quite the glare, with Kaba noticing as well, saying how it looks like it's about time for him to get home too. Only cowards on this planet, Vegeta says, as only Kel remains now with them, not having left with Caulifla. You know, I think I should probably go too, Kel says nervously, almost on cue, but Bulma reassures her that if she leaves, who's gonna guide them around? And it'll be fun. However, the next interaction seems to instantly change Kel's mind. As Kel and Broly lock eyes for the very first time, something clicks as the two make an instant connection that will become more apparent in due time. Hello, Chile says, getting a bit jealous now. I'm still here. My name is Broly, and you are? Broly says to Kel, still ignoring Chile. Kel, she replies. How long are you gonna keep ignoring me, Chile says. That's okay, I don't have anything better to do, Kel says, doing a complete 180 with Bulma being overjoyed now. We can go see the downtown too if you want, she says. I honestly thought this next panel was pretty cute as well, with Chile just showing a bunch of jealousy right now and Broly just being completely oblivious to it all. That's it, Kel says as they approach the downtown district finally. It's pretty small in there, she tells them, with Broly being amazed at how beautiful the city is. I was expecting more, Jocko says, with Chile agreeing, still jealous. As they overlook the city, Broly is engulfed at the sight of Saiyan culture, something he'd never been able to be exposed to or experience up until really meeting Goku and Vegeta, I guess. Where do you come from actually, Kel asks. I mean, how are things on your home planet? To be honest, I've never actually done anything other than hunting, Broly tells her. There's neither people nor much to do on my home planet. But there is Chile and I love her, Broly says, hoisting Chile up on his shoulders. As they enter the downtown district, Broly is amazed at all of these people and the life that they live here. What are you guys doing? He says, walking up to two kids playing in the sand. We're playing the game where the first to blink loses, the boy says. What's this for? Broly says, going up to a Ferris wheel next. I mean, we can fly. Wow, that hat looks really fancy on you, miss, he says, going up to another random person, and it's just cool to see Broly just enjoying Planet Sadala and being around his people. All of a sudden, this is when a random guy sitting with a few friends calls him over. Can't you see you're on our territory, muscle man, the second guy says. Not only do they get the fame, the third guy says, but they're stealing our females as well. Now when this guy says this, Bulma unleashes a furious slap across all three of their faces, asking, and you think this is how you treat females? Be gone now, she tells them, causing them to scurry away in quite a hurry. Well said, Bulma, Chile says, giving her a thumbs up of approval. Little brats like that really get on my nerves, she says. Seems like it doesn't really change no matter what universe you're in. Though, Broly, they were kinda right, she goes on. You shouldn't walk around shirtless, it's inappropriate. This seems to be music to Chile's ears as she agrees, so Bulma searches her jacket for some form of armor or something Broly can put on. Perfect, she says, finding something. Here goes my new capsule technology. Though we will have to get rid of this little sneaky thing, she says as she grabs his pelt. Broly immediately tenses up, grabbing her hand, looking every bit of serious all of a sudden. You're hurting me, Bulma says, shocked at his reaction. He can keep it, Kel says. It's not a big deal. If the smell bothers you that much, I know a good perfume maker who's near. Broly loosens up after Kel says that he can keep his pelt, as Bulma apologizes for not being aware that was so important to him. Anyway, put this on your chest, she says, giving him the capsule. Don't worry about it, Broly tells her, as he places the capsule on his chest, with it spawning an entire dry-fit armored Capsule Corp outfit, which is kinda dope if you ask me. It's really tight, Broly says, kind of uncomfortable at first. Oh, don't be such a wimp, Bulma says. It's perfect. I think it fits you well, Chile says, with Broly immediately changing his attitude about it. Over on planet Crepe, home to the new training grounds for Goten and Trunks, we can see Whis reviewing their abilities and assessing just how he should approach their training. Goten and Trunks are definitely enjoying watching the two of them in fused form show off their power, as Whis confirms that, okay, this is about all he needed to see. Finally, we're getting on to the training part, the two say, as they instantly start doing the fusion dance, but Whis stops them in their tracks, telling him that he strictly forbids them to use fusion for now. Allow me to explain the following, Whis goes on. The goal of the first part of this training is to reach Gotenks' maximum level, for the both of you. Otherwise, a power close to your fullest potentials. There will be 3 steps. The first consists of becoming one with your inner selves. To put it simply, you will have to be able to unleash all of your power in one blow, whether that be with physical contact or not. For this, you'll have to face your weaknesses, your emotions, and your inner demons. Here's the first exercise. A plastic ball is in the center of this device, and a light will appear either red or green above. When at least one of the sides of the device has been hit, the light will appear red. Furthermore, he goes on, hitting both sides simultaneously will make the light appear green. Therefore, your goal is to activate both red and green lights, and for your hits to be hard enough and of the same intensity, so the ball in the center explodes from the pressure as well. To succeed, rigor, focus, and explosiveness will be needed. Though according to me, the hardest part will still be the perfect synchronization needed for the ball to explode. Whis creates another giant device before them after this explanation, telling them now it's their turn, as Goten and Trunks dive headfirst into their training with an angel. Attention, Vegeta calls over the army of Saiyans before him. The training will now start. You lot are the 5th squad, remember it well. You already know the 3 admirals standing beside me, he continues. Admiral Ruba, the most powerful man on the planet, he says, introducing his admirals. Admiral Lyric, experienced strategist and a bold warrior, the man who's won a battle without mobilizing a single soldier. And Admiral Ganel, best of the best when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. She successfully dismantled 182 smuggling rings. If I were you, I wouldn't try to hide anything from her. You will make 4 mixed groups. Each group will go in front of one of the admirals or myself. Have I been clear, Vegeta says, as the crowd replies, yes sir. Not good enough for him, however, as he commands a louder response. Have I been clear, he repeats, as he receives a resounding yes sir from the crowd. Oh, I feel like I'm going to enjoy this job, Vegeta says with a proud smile on his face. Bulma and Jocko just disgusted at his big-headedness as they watch from afar. What are you looking at, Caulifla says, punching one of the guys in the back of the head for messing with her. Obviously, Vegeta has next to no idea how to deal with Caulifla and her rebellious nature, already seeing that this is going to be a continuous problem now as he complains about her already acting up. I'll have to be smart with this one, he says. Caulifla, go to Ruba's group, he tells her. What? I thought we would get to pick our own group, she says. In an instant, Vegeta has transformed into a Super Saiyan and grabbed her by her hair, telling her not to argue with him, sending quite a shock through the entire crowd. Ruba then steps up, telling Vegeta it'd be better if he didn't use this form. How? Vegeta demands.
बोले तो भारी है बिडू अबे डिस्काउंट भी तो भारी है ना सही है बिडू
फ्लिपकार्ट पे इसी इतना सस्ता कि पेंगुइन्स को भी मांगता Shop now on Flipkart.
Did I hear right? Who allowed you to call me by my name? Whispers begin to hover through the crowd as the Saiyans begin to doubt and question Vegeta and how he chooses to get things done here. You all be quiet, Geno says. What are those whispers for? Do you realize the lack of respect he's showing us? Lyric says to her. That's not the point, she replies. Reacting like that is inappropriate for a proper Saiyan soldier. Such behaviors are unworthy of us. Although, if this Vegeta has an issue with us, I guess he'll have to deal with 2 big issues then, Ruba says, getting up as well now, with Lyric following suit too. Aside from the king, everyone is skeptical about your ability to lead us, he says. What now? Vegeta says, offended. You're doubting my legitimacy? This is when he turns around and notices the doubtful faces throughout the entire crowd, skeptical Saiyans that he'll have to prove himself to. As Ruba, Lyric, and Geno ready themselves to approach Vegeta, Kaba tries his best to calm everyone down and defuse the situation before this goes way too far. But I highly doubt these Saiyans understand the flames of pride that they just fanned. Quiet, Vegeta barks at Kaba. You seem to forget who you're talking to. I am Vegeta, he roars as his power explodes in the middle of planet Sadala. Vegeta has completely thrown caution to the wind, and in an effort to prove himself and demand respect from the rest of these Saiyans, he unleashes the power of Super Saiyan Blue Evolution to silence this troop for good before his words. Now, come at me, he says, enraged and ready to crush this fleet of Saiyans himself if he has to, as Chapter 5 of Dragon Ball Kakumi comes to a close. This chapter just hits the ground running as Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta roars "Come at me" at Admirals Ruba, Lyric, and Fennel without a single shred of fear in his heart. All three Admirals feel the intense pressure given off by the intimidating Saiyan before them, and they brace themselves, while the stunned Universe 6 Saiyans, including Kaba, watch on. The masses are too afraid to move and simply return Vegeta's gaze, much to his irritation. Leave if you want to, you cowards, but I won't even be able to look you in the eye, so don't come crying to me the day the enemy knocks on your door to kill all your people, Vegeta yells out in fury. Behind him, Admiral Ruba prepares to clasp Vegeta between his mighty palms in one huge attack, yelling "Now you're facing us" in advance. His attempts are futile though, as Vegeta easily dodges the attack by swiftly moving behind him, causing his palms to meet each other instead of crushing him. He turns back in surprise, only to be met with a singular punch from Vegeta so devastating that it almost appears to pierce straight through him. Utterly bested, he's sent flying over the crowd from the attack as the troops watch on in horror. Vegeta is completely unscathed though, and honestly unimpressed, as Lyric then attempts to attack him from behind, launching a blast which simply explodes on the back of his head, dealing no damage at all. He then uses the puff of smoke to his advantage and lands a direct knee on Lyric's abdomen, who coughs up blood from the blow. Fennel is all that's left as she readies her weapon to take a swing at his head from behind in a sneak attack, but he easily dodges that too via a swift crouch. Without even turning around to face his opponent, Vegeta uses his palms on the ground to support himself and pivot enough to launch a backwards kick straight at Fennel's abdomen. Coughing up blood, Fennel 2 is thrown a distance away and crashes into a mountain face, thoroughly defeated as well. The sheer might of this blow causes the top half of the mountain to break apart in two and fall down, crushing Fennel at its center. Following this very short but decisive encounter, all three admirals lay utterly defeated while Vegeta just balls his hand into a fist, unscathed, unimpressed, but his job is still the same, to make sure these Saiyans can hold their own and protect their people. The soldiers look at Vegeta in pure terror, but all his thoughts encompass are the grim realities of not being strong enough. You all look at me as some kind of monster, a bloodthirsty beast. But do you understand now how it feels to be weak? Do you understand what it's like to not be able to protect your own against an enemy that is far too dangerous? Meanwhile, the mountain piece crushing Fennel beneath it starts to crack and violently shatters in all directions, revealing the being at its center. Fennel has transformed into her Super Saiyan form and casts a deadly glare at Vegeta through her blood-stained face. "Sorry, my king. I had no other choice," she thinks to herself as she charges at him. Vegeta shows no concern for her transformation at all, but he will gladly oblige if they still don't get it, if his point still hasn't gotten through their heads yet. "Come on, guys, transform," she screeches at the fallen Ruba and Lyric, who had slowly opened their eyes. The duo begin to transform into their Super Saiyan forms as well, yelling out in determination through their dripping blood. Vegeta's response is nothing more than a sideways glance and a wide smirk, giddy about a slightly better, although still inferior challenge. Yet his fun is abruptly interrupted by King Sadala, who states, "Repugnant," in utter distaste. The king approaches the scene, followed by a multitude of robots, as he says, "As I thought. We can only rely on these robots nowadays. You all just keep getting better at deceiving me," he proclaims in anger, clearly not amused. What a circus. Just let us
शूटिंग क्लब सुबह पे मत चलो
आप ये मिंत्रा एंड ऑफ रीजन सेल का ऐड कैसे कर सकते हो?
मिंत्रा EORS पे इंटरनेशनल ब्रांड्स एट लोएस्ट प्राइसेस है व्हाट्स द प्रॉब्लम
प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हर कोई ग्लोबल ब्रांड्स पहनेगा, फैशनेबल लगेगा, तो मुझे कौन देखेगा?
मुझे
I mean हमें Sorry, Shahrukh is your favorite director. I'm not allowing you to do this shoot.
Karan.
No.
Karan.
No.
Karan.
Sorry, Karan, but now everyone will get international brands at lowest prices guaranteed. Only on Myntra's end of reason sale.
Let's finish our accounts. It's better for every Vegeta attempts to say, but is abruptly cut off by the enraged king screeching silence. Settle your accounts, I do not care, but never use this demonic form on my planet again. If I catch you again, I will banish you, the king states firmly, the robots backing the command with their weaponry. Fennel looks down in shame and irritation while Vegeta powers down to his normal self as well and looks at Bulma. Let's go, Bulma, he states dryly. Elsewhere in a swamp, Hit and Frost are slowly approaching a large monster in the water which seems to be a target of interest. Upon noticing them, it quickly submerges its head beneath the water surface and darts off in the other direction at high speeds. I've been swimming at full speed for about 20 minutes now. I've lost them for sure, it thinks vainly to itself. Yet when it turns around, Hit is silently standing there, casting it a dead and unimpressed glance. Both shocked and enraged at Hit's persistence, the monster launches an attack of spiked scales at Hit from its left arm. Now, the time lag, thinks Frost from behind him as he readies his time lag technique in front of himself. The spiked scales approach him, but Hit easily dodges the first ones by tilting his head to the side. Unknown to Hit, however, this scale attack turns a complete 180-degree angle and boomerangs right back to him. Only noticing this at the last moment, Hit turns his head around to see the scale get sliced across thanks to Frost's beam attack. He looks to Frost, who smirks and says, "You're welcome," which he simply shakes off. In response, he launches a beam from his finger at the monster behind them, piercing his chest without even turning around. Hit and Frost then come to arrive on planet Dew, where they eye a hunched and grumpy-looking target from the shadows. As Hit prepares his attack to take down his opponent from behind silently, another attack from the side beats him to it, piercing the target's chest again. Enraged, Hit turns around and glares at Frost, the culprit once again. "It's super easy to be an assassin actually," Frost states amused, to which Hit replies by grabbing his hand at the wrist. "What's your problem?" he roars. You can't hit your targets anymore, or I'm just better than you," Frost taunts without flinching. "You will leave me alone from now on, until the end of time." "Have I made myself clear?" Hit threatens while tightening his hold on Frost's grip. Ouch! Frost winced while thinking, this hurts like hell. "I accept under one condition," Frost claims while putting up a bold facade. "Prove your superiority to me. Come on, fight." He challenges Hit head on after getting his wrist free. Hit is unamused, however, but looks on with a grim expression. Meanwhile, while the multiverse readies itself for war, in the palace of the Grand Priest struggles in agony in his throne. "Grand Priest, I've tried everything to cover for you, but the kings will find out sooner or later," an attendant states. It's not a big deal. Don't put yourself in more danger," the Grand Priest staggers to say, with veins popping out all over his face. "Right," replies the attendant, while the priest attempts to steady himself once again. Elsewhere, beneath the tent on a floating inverted pyramid, Toppo, Margarita, Gohan, and Jiren look at each other in suspense. Margarita and Dispo avert their eyes to the burnt out and bandaged Velmod following his transfer of power and duties to Toppo. "If Lord Velmod starts Gohan, but is stopped midway by Jiren, who states Margarita has no right to bring him back to life, nor to discredit his years accumulated all at once. Nevertheless, there's still hope that Lord Velmod is still with us, and if so, she's keeping him alive at the moment." "I see. That said, now that I'm here, you know how I share your sense of justice," Gohan goes on, "which is why I like to join the Pride Troopers." Jiren can only turn to look at Toppo as he says, "You really picked the wrong time if you ask me." Embarrassed, Gohan sincerely apologizes, showing them the utmost respect, saying that he really shouldn't have bothered them at a time like this. Surprised at this response, Jiren looks up and states, "That's nothing," as Toppo continues from there. "Listen, Gohan," Toppo says, "we're a little bit tensed up since we hastened the Divine Immortality handover ritual, but we don't blame this on you. Jiren then goes on to explain, however, we can't just let you become a Pride Trooper out of request. So if you agree, you'll follow us on a mission and we're going to rate you. Of course I agree. Thank you, Jiren, Gohan shouts out, enjoy, his face glowing now. The moment is short-lived, however, as Dispo's ear twitches as he commands silence. He then fixates his eyes on Velmon's body and then shouts out, with tears moments away from flowing from his face, I can hear his breath. Lord Velmont is alive. To the utter surprise of Gohan, Jiren, and Topo too shedding tears of relief and happiness now. Our story then takes a slight shift to a very interesting place called Monster Island, where a shooting star of sorts crash lands with a loud sound, attracting 17's attention. Out of the huge smoke cloud, Pepperoni pops out, coughing profusely amidst broken trees. Damn robot, it's gonna take a few more tweaks obviously. Anyway, here's to us, number 17, he states, as he takes a gadget out of his coat pocket while adjusting his monocle. You're that guy from Universe 3, Pepperami, right? What are you doing on my island? Android 17 asks from a tree branch above. Utterly surprised, Pepperoni states, but that's impossible. My tracer indicated that, only to be cut off by his gadget buzzing, you have arrived. I see, Pepperoni states. Pepperoni, number 17, I'm here because I have a proposition for you. How about teaming up with me? I went so far as to create an android based on the DNA of the Supreme Kai of my universe to come to yours, he states vehemently. And to get to me, you took my DNA too, Android 17 asks in suspicion. Just a hair of nothing, he replies blandly. Don't you dare ever do such a thing again, 17 threatens before getting down to his level on the ground. Alright, Pepperoni agrees, as the android continues, and I'm not interested in your proposal. Pepperoni is adamant though, but take a step.
Another day, another road, and we go. A ride with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. What a ride we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Back. Think about your family. How will you defend them? He urges. I don't need you to defend them, 17 states with determination. Pepperoni now grows angry. Do you have any idea who the enemies are this time? He barks. It doesn't matter. If you die, you die. That's just how it goes, 17 states as he walks away, much to Pepperoni's disbelief. Dad? A meek voice calls out, grabbing 17's attention right away. He turns around in utter surprise and shock to see Sapphire and Pearl in front of him. Sapphire! Pearl, what are you doing here? He yells out. I took them to play and we overheard you talking, darling, states his wife as she appears behind them. While his daughter clings to his wife's dress, calling out, Mom, Mom. His son looks at him with tears in his eyes. Dad, we don't want to die. And we don't want you to die either. His wife proceeds to wipe away their tears, embracing both of her children. No one is gonna die, my loves. We have many years of joy left to live. This moment right here sparks countless memories of 17's beloved family in his mind as he stops in his tracks, rubs the back of his head, and states firmly, Fine. What's the plan, Pepperoni? He says, as more and more alliances are created every chapter within Dragon Ball Kakumi, but the threat of Kansei and the Erased Angels is still far out of the leagues of everyone involved right now. Strolling through this busy downtown area in one of his most studious outfits as Jiren and Dispo sit nearby watching, is Gohan, as he makes his way to a heavily guarded tower patrolled by 2 soldiers. Hey you! Like the video, one of the guys says, and I gotta agree, that was a pretty smooth time to do that. The soldiers taking notice of Gohan make no difference, however, as a group of women walk by at the perfect time, fawning over the soldiers, and within their commotion, Gohan is able to disappear amongst them. He takes to the skies to get a better look at the tower, and this is when he sees a window that seems like the perfect opportunity for him to infiltrate. As he climbs into the window, he talks into his watch, communicating with Jiren and the rest. asking which way he needs to go. Jiren tells him to go to room 128 and to take the green bottle, which will be in a small box. It's a devastating virus artificially created. Crazy. This agency wants to sell it to a neighboring country which is itself at war. Do everything you can to stop them. Such pressure, Gohan thinks to himself as he finds the room in question. If I miss, countries and even a whole continent may suffer. I'll only have one chance. Let's go, he says, opening the door. On the other side of the door of room 128, a group of who all resembles something along the lines of mobsters sit around a table dressed in heavy business attire. Who are you and what do you want? One of the ambassadors says as they all take note of Gohan entering the room. I'm a financial controller and I'm here to audit you, Gohan says, as it doesn't really look like anyone believes him too much. Conveniently, however, the virus is closest to Gohan on the side of the room, so he has to decide exactly how he wants to approach this. Dad, what would you do in my place? Gohan thinks to himself. Hey Gohan, need some advice? Goku says, appearing as a figment of his son's imagination in a time of need. Yeah. Well, Goku begins, if I were you, I'd evaluate the power of my opponent so as to defeat the strongest first. That way the others would just leave without worrying about the bottle. I should have known, Dad, Gohan says. Thanks. As Goku bids him farewell and a good luck. Gentlemen, Gohan says as he hides something behind his back in his hand. I've thought about it and everything seems to be in order here. He tosses something across the table at them that explodes, creating a blinding light as Gohan grabs the tank with the virus and takes off. Sorry, Dad, he thinks to himself, but I didn't want to hurt anyone. Gohan flies down the stairs of the tower and makes his way towards the exits, trying to remember the layout of this place, but this is when he pretty much gets surrounded all at once by guards and mobsters alike, as Gohan is now in a standoff with both exits cut off. So what are we doing now, Dispo says as he and Jiren continue waiting for some time later for Gohan. All of a sudden, someone buzzes them as Casserole chimes in, asking if everything is going well on their side. We haven't heard back from him in 30 minutes, Jiren says, referring to Gohan. Shit. If he doesn't answer in an hour, intervene, Casserole tells him. I was also calling to give you some news on Lord Belmont, he continues, as they're eager to know how he is. He's with me right now, Casserole replies. And this is when we see Lord Belmont, although decrepit and burnt, standing to his feet once more, telling his pupils that he's been through a lot. It's true. But it'll take more than that to bring him down. Especially since your fates were at the mercy of a devastating war that has nothing to do with you all, he says. Over on planet Crepe, Goten and Trunks are hard at work as Whis oversees their training, going at this machine with everything that they have to perfectly sync their powers. Focus, Goten, your hand was off, Trunks yells as Goten calms himself completely and focuses his power. Focus, Goten, he plays in his head over and over again. What's that big warm feeling? He starts. Come on, get in touch with yourself. Of course. Whis watches in anticipation as his eyes slowly open, but when they do, Goten is in an entirely different realm, in his own subconsciousness. Oh, what the heck is this door? He says as a giant locked door towers over him in his own mind. Goten approaches the door, wondering just what's behind this, sticking his hand out to open it. I feel some sort of pressure, he says, but right before he's able to open it, Goten! 3, 2, Trunks calls out. Goten snaps out of it at the sound of Trunks' voice, telling him to just hold on a second. I saw a door like there in my head, Goten tells him, to which Whis reveals a slight smirk. What are you talking about? Trunks asks him. Are you kidding me? I don't know, Goten says, and Whis doesn't enlighten us any further about what to do, as Whis just continues supervising, smirking along. Well, anyways, without Gotenks' power, this is really harder than expected, Goten says. But I think we have to look beyond our strength. It's at this point that Whis can confidently say that they're finally starting to learn after only a month of training. The boys are starting to mature and are making excellent progress. Late night at Gohan's house, Pan is seen sneaking out of the window and taking off flying. She says that she's so excited to train. Piccolo told me to join him in the southwestern forest the day I was ready, she says. Over in the forest at the location in question, we can see Piccolo here as he's talking to the Namekians from Universe 6, Sanel and Polina. Pan will arrive in a few minutes, he says, so let's get started. Show me what you can do 2 years after the tournament, he tells them. You'll see we've developed a new technique, they tell him. Well, then stop talking and show me. About 20 minutes later, Pan finally arrives at the destination in the forest and sees them already well into their battle. This page gotta be one of my favorites out of the whole chapter because these shots of these Namekians are absolutely ridiculous. Well, I must admit, Piccolo says to them, you become very strong and you've taught me something really interesting about our race. I want to train too, Pan says, finally appearing on the battlefield as her first real training session of this caliber begins. A month earlier, as we return to the conflict in Universe 6, Hit and Frost prepare for a death battle of their own. The pressure of such a battle here rises little by little until finally bursting through the roof. The first one to attack in this fight will certainly win this battle, because at such a level, each move is decisive. Hit's first time skip attack completely crumples Frost where he stands, as his confusion sets in about how Hit was even able to pull that off. It feels like his hand is on my heart, he says, writhing in pain, as if he was pressing it and immobilizing the rest of my body with chains. I need to resist, he stutters, finally breaking free after a moment. Frost bursts out in laughter, saying that was really close. I must counterattack, he says, and I know just where to hurt him really bad. Frost appears behind Hit as he tells him that, in the end, maybe he was wrong about him. You don't hate your life, Frost tells him. On the contrary, you love it. Lacerating your victims is truly your greatest pleasure. Straight to the heart. The law of retaliation.
फ्लिपकार्ट पे इसे इतना सस्ता कि पेंगुइन्स को भी मांगता. Shop now on Flipkart.
Nothing more, he says, as he pierces Hit through the heart with a single strike. Hit freezes as his body goes limp, but Frost realizes that something is amiss here, as shadows appear behind him. This is when Frost turns around to see a dozen other Hits behind him. Clones, he says, confused. But Hit tells him no, we're all one. Hit and all of his replicants prepare a slashing attack, firing at Frost from all angles as he's nearly able to dodge them in time. That was a close call, Frost says, jumping out of the way. But if he thinks he's gotten away unharmed, he's sadly mistaken. It took every bit of speed Frost had to dodge all of those attacks, but Hit's precision is unmatched, as Frost realizes that his leg was the casualty of that last attack. Wait, what's happening to me, Frost says, as he begins to get dizzy and lose consciousness, Hit closing in on him. The last thing he sees is the assassin's face. A month later in the current time, we return to planet Sadala to see Vegeta hard at work training the Saiyans. Vegeta at this point is still easily overpowering all of these guys, but he's enjoying being around all of these Saiyans with a thirst for strength and bettering themselves like he does. You almost kind of feel bad for Vegeta seeing him on Sadala because this really could have been him in Universe 7 in a different timeline, coaching and living amongst his other Saiyans. Let's take a break, he tells this group of Saiyans who are completely worn out. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Vegeta flies in the air, scouring the training ground, looking over at everyone and everything. Although there aren't many of them, seeing them train fills me with pride, he says. Here's your problem, Caulifla, Ruba says as Vegeta goes in to check on the next group. I don't understand anything, she says. You told me to prepare a move in advance, but you also told me to go for it. One doesn't prevent the other, Ruba tells her. I learned at my expense that going straight into the pile leads straight to the wall. No matter how hard I try, I can make a plan until I take action, so I started preparing plan B in the middle of the action. So you have to drive into the wall, but think about how to destroy its foundations if you don't break it in one go. There you are, Vegeta, Ruba says as Vegeta tells him it's Mr. to you and flies off to the next group. Oh, keep dreaming, he says as Caulifla continues her training, trying to decipher the exact meaning of Ruba's words. In the next group, Fennel is trying to teach Broly that he has to accept that monstrous power that he has, to stop repressing it and being fearful of it and deal with it. As for you, young lady, she says, looking at Kale now, you have to gain confidence. You refuse to believe in your reasonings, and this is what's blocking you. You're a very smart woman, Kale. I can see that from the beginning. Listen to what she's telling you, Kale, Vegeta says, landing next to them, and there won't be any limits that will stop you. In the final group, Lyric explains to Kaba that in 1 month, he got to know Kaba and he can see the youth of himself inside Kaba. You let yourself be carried away by your emotions, he tells him. Son, a true Saiyan isn't like that. Your logic, patience, and bravery must take precedence over your instinct, haste, and doubts. Understood, Admiral Lariat, Kaba says. This is when Vegeta calls him over, however, telling him that they need to talk for a minute. It's later that night at the old ruins that a meeting is taking place as we see Kaba and Caulifla arriving. She asks what exactly they're doing there, but Kaba says that he only knows that Vegeta requested for him to bring everybody here. Broly and Kale are here as well as we see Vegeta, who's been waiting on them. He tells them that he'll keep it brief. He's been among all of their groups today, as they know. Your respective admirals seem to have things to teach you, and that's good, he says. But as far as the fight is concerned, you're already far beyond the rest of these Saiyans. So we'll meet up every night to face each other. Now draw your best forms, he tells them all, going directly against King Sadala's wishes and threats from earlier. Instinctually, Kaba, Kel, and Caulifla all take on their Super Saiyan 2 forms at Vegeta's command, but Broly shows hesitation still. Broly, Vegeta tells him, take back that form that you had during our previous fight, no matter how out of control you may get. Since our fight, I've never taken that form again, and I only have vague memories of it, Broly tells him. I see, Vegeta replies. He then orders Kale to be the one to teach him how to control his powers better since they have an eerily familiar hidden potential. The 3 Super Saiyans glare at Vegeta as he provokes them, asking if they're really ready for this. And this is when Broly finally cuts loose. If Vegeta says it's okay, then the beast can be freed. It's been quite a while since this form has seen the light of day, but per Vegeta's command, and against the wishes of King Sadala, Broly releases his ultimate Super Saiyan form, with Chapter 7 of Dragon Ball Kakami coming to a heated close. As the sun shines magnificently across the training grounds the morning after, Vegeta is in the sky looking down at the ground on the defeated Saiyans below. However, there is one that's still standing amongst them. Broly is the only other one still on his feet as Kaba, Kel, and Caulifla lay beaten on the ground. Caulifla makes a comment about after everything that they saw last night, there was no doubt about it. Broly has the same potential as Kale. Broly has reached a height I could have never imagined, Vegeta says. The strength he possesses now is far different from when Kakarot and I first fought him. Kale, he roars, turning his attention to her next. You've impressed me tonight. You'll be a great teacher for Broly. As for you, Caulifla, he goes on next. You'll have to make that new transformation the best in your arsenal. Keep training to maintain that form and to access it more easily. So this pretty much confirms that not only are Broly and Kale obviously similar and immensely strong, I mean stronger than Vegeta's previous encounters with either of them, but Caulifla also has a new form as well, which is really interesting. She tells Vegeta to be careful saying he's proud of her or anything like that, or he might end up ripping his tongue out. He reminds her that he is their teacher for the time being, so don't think that he isn't proud of any progress that they make, to which she simply brushes it off as they return back. Later, when they rejoin the other Saiyans, it seems the entire force is already in the middle of training, as Kaba mentions to Ruba that they started much earlier than he even expected today. No one wanted to go home last night, Ruba tells him, so we pretty much just trained the entire time. I see you're all finally beginning to understand, Vegeta says as he addresses the rest of the Saiyans before him. One of the soldiers thanks Vegeta, telling him that because of him, he now feels like he can reach his full potential and he isn't the only one here that feels that way. This is when Vegeta looks around and sees the eyes of his Saiyan brethren, accepting him and being grateful for everything he's doing for them. These are my friends and the friends of my friends, the Saiyan goes on. When I told them about my experience training with you, they regained their urges to fight as well. It's nice to finally meet you, one of the older Saiyans says, walking up to Vegeta. I'm the leader of a town about 200 kilometers away from here. I was intrigued by the story of a man who was training Saiyans, just like in the good old days. Same here, another Saiyan speaks out. I'm an ex-soldier myself. The training stories reached me as well, and I thought it's finally time to return to duty. You are all well aware of the doom that may certainly await you in the future, correct? Vegeta asks. Are you ready to take on such a risk? If we're gonna die, the old man says, we might as well fight until the very end, right? That's the spirit. That's it, Vegeta says, fired up now. It's not too late. We might just win this war, Kakarot. Elsewhere later on, we see Bulma sitting with Rapini having a friendly discussion over tea. I've told you so much about my children, but you haven't really told me anything about yours. What are your kids like? Bulma asks. Rapini replies, well, you already know the most important things. My son Peppino, he's about the same age as Trunks. Well, the present Trunks, I guess. I know that story sounds crazy, it's hard to believe. I'm sure they'll get along great though, Bulma assures her. Oh, come on, I believe you, Rapini replies. This is when Bulma asks if Rapini's husband is training with Vegeta or something. I've known you guys for a week, but I've never seen him out there. Oh, my husband? Fighting? I'd love to see that, she chuckles in response. Bulma is shocked to hear of a Saiyan that doesn't like fighting though, but this is when Rapini tells her that her husband isn't actually a Saiyan. He's a Tuffle. Tuffles are a very technologically advanced race similar to the human race that lived on planet Plant with the Saiyans. A Tuffle? They still exist in your universe? Bulma asks. Of course they do, Rapini tells her. They've been living.
Wow, smooth. फक्त smooth नाही. Smooth. Oh, so smooth.
On Sadala for over 2 centuries now, and it's thanks to them that the king has lots of efficient guards close to him. This is getting very interesting now. So those guards that are around King Sadala were made by Tuffles. The Tuffles spend most of their time in their laboratories just north of the capital. They work hard every single day finding better and better ways to protect our families. So your son is half Saiyan. He already has a lot in common with Trunks, Bulma says gleefully. Peppino, who again is her son, isn't entirely Saiyan, she says. So he has the intelligence and creativity of his father while also having the strength of my people. He is truly a brilliant kid, Rapini says proudly. That's amazing. I hope to meet both him and your husband soon, Bulma says. This is when she also asks if maybe it's possible that she'd be able to go and see one of the Tuffle labs as well. Well, Rapini goes on, it's kinda difficult to get there even if we had a car permit. But you're just in luck. I'm a great woman with an even greater husband. He should be back tomorrow. He might agree to take us there. You mean I could get to go there as soon as tomorrow? Bulma says excitedly, to which Rapini replies, well, yeah, as they go on to celebrate the coming revolution of Sadalian technology. 1 month prior on planet Calumet, we see Basil and the rest of the dog trio speaking to Krillin and the others, asking just what it is that's even brought them here. Gohan told us that training with the 3 of you would help us prepare for the upcoming battle, Krillin speaks up. Ha! You training with us? They all laugh in unison. Wait, what were you saying about a message earlier? Bergamo asks all of a sudden. Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha look around kinda confused. You mean the message from the Grand Priest, Tien repeats? You don't remember that or something? Bergamo and the others are still kinda lost as Yamcha realizes that this could mean something very troubling. The Grand Priest's message must have been stopped by the clouds that cover planet Calumet, Krillin says. That would explain it. Wait, are you telling me there are thousands of planets that don't know about the situation because of a problem like that, Yamcha yells? With Krillin seeing that now they'll just have to fill them in on everything. Well, if that's the case, let us not waste any more time, Bergamo says after being briefed. I need to see just what you guys are worth. As the three Earthlings prepare for battle, the trio powers up looking just as menacing as they always do, but potentially underestimating their Universe 7 friends. The battle begins as the Earthlings show amazing potential against the Dog Trio, and I gotta keep it up, Buck. The art is just always the icing on the cake. I can never get over how incredible this always looks. Krillin tells the others to remember just what this is all for and why they're here. We're here to shatter our limits and push far beyond that, Tien says. Let's show Goku that all the years spent with him have served us well. The battle continues to rage on, but this is when the three Earthlings reunite in the middle of the battlefield, with Krillin asking Tien and Yamcha if they're ready. The three fire a massive beam in unison together, with Bergamo saying that he didn't think these guys would show this much promise as they combat the beam. Basil comments that he doesn't understand, however, especially those two bald guys who weren't all that in the Tournament of Power. They're just like us, Bergamo tells him. Their true strength is in their collaboration, their teamwork, but separated, their individual power is glaring. With Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha putting everything they have into their final attack, a huge explosion occurs as the attack dissipates, leaving a massive crater in the ground, but the victors wouldn't be the Earthlings this time. Even though they may have lost, the Earthlings have shown amazing potential to Bergamo and the others, as even he admits that he almost got a little serious there himself. So I guess we should find a place to rest and heal them up now, he says. In the meantime, while everyone is putting in this work and busting their butts in training, we return to Sidra's planet in the presence of the gods. We have almost 2 years to finalize our little scheme, Sidra says to Ro. We need to get ahead of them and strike first, before they're able to react. Wait, what the heck is going on over here? This is when Mojito turns around, hearing that little suspicious comment he just made, as he walks over to him demanding to know just what they're talking about. Nothing important, Sir Mojito, Ro says, but Mojito demands that they answer the question that he just asked. What were you talking about? Really, we weren't talking about anything, don't worry, Citra repeats, but Mojito wouldn't be so quick to let them off the hook. Well, he says, towering over them now, I'll be watching you all the more from now on. Sir, Ro pleads, it's anything but what you think. I can assure you that we would never, ever allow ourselves to act in this way without consulting each other in the face of such divine conflict. Good, Mojito replies, as a very strange encounter comes to an end. When Krillin wakes up, he looks over to see Yamcha bragging to the others, saying, I told you he'd wake up without a senzu bean. Stop being so proud and be thankful, Tien tells him. Krillin looks at the state of themselves and can only honestly wonder, if this is their condition now, then what's gonna happen when they're faced with more numerous and dangerous enemies? Well, we got a little bit less than 2 years left, Yamcha begins. We'll learn. Anyhow, how will we know when the war will start? Lord Sidra and Ro will warn us, Bergamo says. We can trust them. This bald man here must be able to see through the clouds with that front eye of his, Lavender says, as everyone laughs but Tien, of course, who doesn't think it's so funny. Where did that eye come from anyway, Basil asks. This is when we actually get a pretty cool recent explanation of Tien's lore and ancestry a bit. I belong to the clan of the Three Eyes, which has this particular feature, he says, but it kinda doesn't exist anymore. During my childhood, the wise men of my clan loved to tell old stories about the power of the third eye. Some spoke of a divine power, others spoke of a prophetic sign, and some people outside of our clan even saw us as demons. But my elders have always taught me the difference between my strength and my identity. I joined the crane school and met Chiaotzu, my best friend, but one day while returning to my village,
Find verified tenants on nobroker.com and rent out your property hassle-free.
my family vanished into thin air. I spent years looking for them, but he drifts off. So I made the crane school my second family. Then I met Yamcha, Krillin, and Son Goku while they were studying martial arts in a rival school to mine. But going back to my third eye, it's nothing more than a physical characteristic. It has nothing to do with any special prophecies. There's a little bit of everything on Earth. I mean, the king of Earth is a dog, for crying out loud, Yamcha comments, which, yeah. So it's not that surprising to see people with an extra eye or even not having a nose. Well, don't look at me, Krillin says, knowing that he is the only fella here with no nose. Well, we were a great team, but that may never happen again, Yamcha mentions, looking down. Why would you say that, Bergamo says. This is when a rather cold silence overcomes the room, but Krillin would proceed to explain the other part of the situation. Goku was in Universe 19 when it was sealed off, so he's not with us anymore, he says. We have to continue on without him. This is not an answer Yamcha is willing to take, however, as he fires everyone's spirits up like he does so well, telling them that Goku is still with them, in their hearts. He taught us so many things, he says, and he always proved to us that it's never too late. We will win this battle, and I'm gonna rescue Goku myself from our enemies, he goes on, as Chapter 8 of the legendary Dragon Ball Kikume comes to a close. It is very useful for travel between universes, Pepperoni says, but I still need to fix some problems. You have to wait a month before you can use it again, so it's not very practical. This is also the same bot that I used to get to Universe 7 from his native Universe 6 also, if you guys didn't know. I've been on Earth for 30 days now. We've lost enough time, he goes on, as 17 and 18 say, well, shall we go? I'm ready, 18 says as she stretches out her arm, excited to train again. For our families, we need to get back on track. This is when we see 17 crouching down as he says goodbye to his children as well, telling them to take care of their mother as he and his sister 18 take off. Marin, be sure to help your aunt, 18 says as the brother and sister leave to train together. I'm counting on you. The Shinbot transportation system is finally ready again as Pepperoni boots it up. Just enter the coordinates and the trip will be almost instantaneous. This is when two other familiar voices chime in as we see someone else approaching them before they leave. Hey there, Hercule says, with Majin Buu trailing slightly behind him. We come to you at the request of the mayor. The only electronic devices still working at the town hall are all burned out after indicating the position at Krillin's house for a brief second, the presence of some unknown device. Has the war started, or was all of that a false alarm? False alarm, Pepperoni tells him. We're simply preparing for a journey back to my world. We just activated my Shinbot. It must have disrupted the magnetic network or something. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Your I welcome. I am in my apology. Do you know how it came to be Well, that is a shatter. It is here by the matter, and so our church holds in view the monuments of both houses, the ERDTREE of the capital and the Academy of Rea Lucaria. Oh, was this? You are free to I would serve if you find any, unless, in which case. Oh, what very well, heresy, all thing. Oh, what very well, heresy is all thing. Oh, very well, let us heresy is not all thing. Oh, what have very well, heresy all thing. Do you possess then I would concerning the radical repented the order this mirror and so to restore to experience the absolute. My faith, the miracle, and this if you, I hope that. smoldering, rich.